Hello everyone, Ismail is here. Today we're going to start the lesson 12.6, the last lesson in chapter 12, the fundamental theorem of calculus. This is an easy, nice lesson and simple one which will help you, or let's say to teach you the basic and the concept about the fundamental of calculus. Now what we're going to expecting to learn here, we're going to learn how we can find the antiderivative and then use the fundamental of the theorem of calculus. Okay, now let's start with the first part of the lesson, antiderivative and indefinite integral. Now, an antiderivative and integrals or integration, they have the same idea. So if the question, or let's say someone asks you what is the antiderivative, okay, antiderivative, and what is the integration. So don't just fall in this trick, and you can just say integration is the same idea of the antiderivative. Okay, so if the question asks you find the antiderivative, or the question asks you find the integration or the integral for something, so same idea. Now let's start here with this lesson here. We learned that, okay, about the derivative. Do you remember the rule of the derivative? So the rule of the derivative, f of x is equal a x to the power of n. So if I need to find f prime, which is the derivative for this, I take this power down, multiply it with a, so the answer will be a times n, x to the power n plus 1. So this is the derivative. Now, what we are going to learn, which is the antiderivative, we will have the antiderivative and I need to return it back to the original question. How can I do this? How can I apply the antiderivative? It's similar to this formula. So write down or focus on this formula. The power rule. The rule is saying if of x to the power of n, so the derivative or the antiderivative, sorry, will be f of x equal x to the power n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c. So just for a quick example, let's say have f of x equal, okay, let's say have x to the power of 5. Now just apply the rule, simple rule. We need to add the power plus 1 and we divide by the same power plus 1, then plus c. So let's find the answer. So the antiderivative will be, we add x to the power 5 plus 1 over 5 plus 1, simple, then plus c. Simplify. What is 5 plus 1? So f of x is equal x to the power 6 over 6 plus c. Done. See how is the antiderivative easy and simple? You just add the power plus 1, then you divide by the same power, which is after you add 1. Same idea. So how about if I have a constant? So for example, how about if I have a constant? So same idea, we just multiply the power or we just keep the constant. It depends on the power, or we divide. So for example, let's say I have f of x is equal 2x to the power of 6, or let's say 2x to the power of 5. Okay, so now let's find the antiderivative, which is equal f of x equal 2x 5 plus 1. Sorry for the noise. Now let's go back. So 5 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 plus c. Now let's simplify. F of x is equal 2x to the power of 6 over 6 plus c. Okay, now 2 over 6 also can be simplified, so we can divide 2. 2 divide 2 is equal 1. Okay, and 6 divide 2 is equal 3 plus c. So this is the final answer. Okay, so this is how we can identify the antiderivative or the integration, which is the same idea. Now in the other word, okay, let me show you, because that's sometimes the book show or the question giving to you some small hints and you need to pay attention for it. So in the other word, if given f of x, see f of x, letter f, do you see the letter f? The letter f is a small letter, right? It's not a capital, because you know this is capital, this is a small letter. So when you see f small x, we want to define an equation. See, look to this one, it's the f capital. Okay, what's the difference between f small and f capital? F small means this equation here is after the derivative. So this is the derivative one, okay, derivative. But the f capital is the integration or the antiderivative, okay, or the original equation, okay, before we deriving. So look to this one. If the question here is telling you f prime x, f capital, so this is the original equation after we integrated. equal to f small x, so after we find the antiderivative. Okay, so now let's call it. Okay, if you continue reading. Okay, so the function f capital X is the antiderivative, and for f of x is small, so f of x is small is the derivative. Okay, now let's solve the equation here. Find all antiderivatives for each equation. Now let's apply the rule. So we just add the power plus 1. So f of x is equal the capital X, f 3 x to the power 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 plus c. Don't forget, let's continue. 3x to the power of 3 over 3 plus c. So the final answer will be x cubed plus c. Done. Finish. Okay, now let's do the next one. Same idea. 4x to the power 7 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 plus c. Then it will be 4x to the power of 8 over 8 plus c. Now let's divide everything by 4. So we will get x to the power of 8 over 8 divided 4 is equal 8 divided 4 is equal to plus c. So this is the final answer. Okay, let's do it just real quick from the first time. Okay, or let's say if you have a negative, if you feel that you're going to do a mistake, so don't skip this step. If you are professional or you see that you're practicing very well, skip this step and you just write after we simplify. Okay, so now let's do this. Equal negative 8. Now x to the power of 9, it should be go up to be in negative, so x to the power of negative 9. Now let's find the derivative. Derivative is equal negative 8 x negative 9 plus 1 over negative 9 plus 1 plus c. Now let's simplify. So it will be negative 8 x negative 8 over negative 8 plus c. Now negative 8 can cancel negative 8, so the final answer will be x to the power of negative 8 plus c. Now as you know that we don't like to see negative power, so we take this one down. Okay, so how can I remove the negative power? So it will be 1 over x to the power of 8 plus c. So this is the final answer. Okay, let's do this question here. So we do the same step. We take the power up, 2x to the power of negative 4. Now let's find the derivative. Okay, so 2x to the power of negative 4 plus 1 over negative 4 plus 1 plus c. Now let's simplify this. So it will be what? It will be 2x to the power of negative 3 over, here's 1, over negative 3. Now let's take the negative down, so it will be 2 over negative 3x to the power of 3 plus c. So this is the final answer. Now let's do the last one. So when you have multiple terms, not only one term, you find the antiderivative for every single term. So for example, what's the antiderivative for x to the power of 2? So it's equal x 3 over 3. I just did it from the first time. Minus, what's the antiderivative for 8x? So it will be 8x squared over 2 plus, and any constant, you just add x. If you have 6, you just add x. If you have 7, you just add x. If you have 50, you just add x. So this is the antiderivative for a constant. Antiderivative of a constant, you just add x. That's it. You don't have to do anything more. Now you can simplify this term. So 8 divided 2. So now the final answer, x to the power of 3, don't forget plus c, sorry, over 3 minus 4x squared plus 5x plus c. We are done. So this is the first we finish from the question. Okay, so now it's your turn. Try to solve this question. Let me show you the answer. These are the answer. After you solve, please check your answer. Okay, now let's go to the indefinite integral. Now, as I told you, the antiderivative, same idea as for the integration or the integral. Now for the integral, so as you can see here, we have something we call it indefinite integral. Okay, and also we have something we call it definite integral. So what is the difference between indefinite and definite integral? The difference is only the interval. Okay, the difference is the interval, which is a and b. So the indefinite it's without, okay, without a and b. So when you find the antiderivative, you don't have to find an answer. But indefinite, okay, with it, the question will be with a and b. So you need to evaluate a and b. So let me put you a small map here for you, okay, to summarize it. So the first one is the n, okay, definite integral, okay, and we have the definite or whatever integral, okay. Now what is the integration? The integration sign is the big F, then we write the function f of x times d of x. What is d of x? I told you. Now if you remember, d over dx, so this sign means the derivative. What is the derivative? When the question only to give you dx, so this one means what is the antiderivative. Okay, so this is the difference. Antiderivative, which means the integration, d over d of x, the derivative. So now the integration for f of x is equal dx. So when the indefinite integral, the question will give you like this: integration f of x d of x. Now if the answer will be, you need to find the big fx plus c. Done. You finish the answer. Nothing you have to do after this step. Now in definite integral, the question will give you here a and will give you b and will give you the question f of x dx. What you have to do, you need to find first the integration, the antiderivative, plus c. Then just put a straight line, and this straight line put a and b. What's this straight line represent? Represent this function should be evaluated from b or from a to b. So what you have to do, after you find the antiderivative, you have to substitute f of b minus f of a. That's it. Then you get the answer. So this is the difference between the indefinite integral and definite integral. Okay, I hope you understand. You see now the example how we can do it. Okay, let's go now to, before we go back to this one. So this is this is what we call it before the fundamental of the calculus. Fundamental theorem of the calculus, when you have the definite integral. So if you want, you can check this one here, check this out. So the definite integral, when you have an integration from a to b, then you just find from f of b minus f of a after you find the antiderivative. Okay, look to this example. So let's have a look on this one. So the question, use the fundamental theorem of calculus to find the area of region between the graph of each function and the axis. Okay, so the question is given here: y equal 4x to the power of 3 on the interval 1 to 3. Or the question now will not give you this information. This information is not given. The question will just give you this, just like that. If the question give you just like this, now use the antiderivative just directly. So now let's do it. What is the antiderivative for this? So 4x 3 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 plus c. So now this one will be 4x to the power of 4 over 4 plus c. So now 4 cancel 4, it means x to the power of 4 plus c. So this is the answer. If the question is indefinite integral, so stop here, done. Because the question here give me 1, which is a, and give me b, so you have to identify x plus x to the power of 4 plus c, then c, I put a straight line from a to b. What you have to do, first substitute, so first we need to substitute 3, so 3 to the power of 4. Then substitute a, 1 to the power of 4. Then minus them, 3 to the power of 4 minus 1 to the power of 4, then you will get the answer, which is the answer here is equal 80. Okay? Maybe some of you will tell me, what's happening with the c, teacher? So look to this one. 3 to the power of 4 plus c minus 1 to the power of 4 plus c. The negative will be distributed for every term. So the question will be 3 to the power of 4 plus c minus 1 to the power of 4 minus c. Now look, check this out. Plus c, negative c cancel each other. So we go back to 3 to the power of 4 minus 1 to the power of 4, which is equal 81 minus 1 equal 80. See? So when you have plus c for definite integral, so you just cancel the c without, let's say, doing anything else. Okay, I hope you understand the question. Let's take more example. Now, oh sorry, before we go to the next example, what is exactly this value of 8? This value of 8 represents the area under a curve. Do you remember in lesson 12.5 when we did the Riemann sum? Riemann sum is help me to find the area under a curve, right? So the same idea, Riemann sum, okay, and integration, or let's call it the antiderivative, okay? So all of these has the same idea, same concept. All of these finding the area under a curve, okay? So it's saying, when saying 80 means from 1 to 3, so from here to 3, so this one here, this area is equal 80, okay? So this area is equal 80, okay? I hope you understand this. Now let's take more examples. Let's solve the first question. So as I told you, sometimes the question will not give you this information and will give you just directly like this, okay? So let's do this just very quick. Now the first idea. First, let's do the antiderivative. 5x to the power of 4 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 plus c. Now let's simplify this. So it will be 5x to the power of 5 over, so plus 1, over 5 plus c. Let's simplify more. So 5 cancel the 5, x to the power of 5 plus c. If the question is indefinite, so I stop, خلاص, done, finish. But because the question has definite, which is has a and b, so I have put straight line and put 2 and put 4. Then now let's evaluate 4, then you evaluate 2. So it will be x, let's write now. 4 to the power of 5 plus c minus 2 to the power of 5 plus c. Now you need to distribute the negative for every single term. So the answer will be 4 to the power of 5 plus c minus 2 to the power of 5 plus minus c. Okay? So now cancel the c with the c. So it remains for you 4 to the power of 5, which is equal 1025 minus 32. So the answer is equal 992. This is the final answer. Okay? Let's do this question on the top here. So the integration is 4 to 0. Let me write it here. Now, negative x 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 plus 4x to the power 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 plus 6 is constant. So you just add x. That's it. Done. Now let's simplify. Don't forget plus c. Now negative x to the power of 3 over 3 equal. So not equal, sorry, plus. Okay. 4x to the power of 2 over 2 plus 6x plus c. We can still simplify, so now the final will be negative 3x to the power of 3 over 3 plus 4x to the power of 2, 4 divided by 2, so 4 divided by 2 is equal to x to the power of 2 plus 6x plus c. So we finish now if the question is indefinite, but the question has a and has b, so I have to substitute now. Let's substitute negative 3. Let's give a bracket to the power of 3 over 3 plus 2 to the power of 2 plus 6 plus, okay, without plus c, خلاص, we don't have plus c because c we cancel each other. Now write it again, then to the power of 3 over 3 plus 2 and 2 plus 6 equal. So I need to substitute first the 4, so 4, 4, 4, then I need to substitute the 0, so 0, 0, 0. So the answer for 0 of course will be 0. The answer for the 4 I think is 34.6 or 36.4. Let me just check. Yes, it's 34.6. Now you need to do f of b minus, do you remember, f of a, which is 34.6 minus 0, which is equal to 34.6. So this is the final answer. Okay, I hope you understand this. Now it's your turn. Try to solve these questions by yourself. Okay, and if you need help, please let me know. Let me just reveal the answer for you. So the first one is 117, the second one is 46, the last one is maybe it's the most difficult one, which is 22.37. Now also here, look to these two questions. These two questions are similar. This one here is same as this one here, but the difference is this question here is indefinite integral. Okay, the question call it indefinite, which is this one written here. Why? Because there is no a and no b. Okay, so that's why it's indefinite. But look to this question here. This question is definite integral, okay, because I have a and I have b. Now after we simplify, so if the question is indefinite, you stop here. Now because the question here need to evaluate b and a, so it will be 9 over 2 3 square minus 3 to the power of 4 over 4. Then I find the answer. Now we do the same thing for the 2 square minus 2 to the power of 4 over 4. Then I can find the answer. The answer for the first one is 20.25 and this one is 14. So the final answer will be 20.25 minus 14 is equal 6.75. So this is the final answer. Now it's your turn. Try to solve this question. Let me reveal the answer also for you. So this is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. Okay, this is the most difficult one maybe for most of the students, but it's still easy because we are on fundamental. Okay, we finished the lesson and solve this question to get more power. But before we go or in the lesson, let's go back here for this example or this part here, only this 2 slides. So when we have a word problem, okay, similar to this, let's read the question, let's analyze it to understand, and then we can identify the question. Okay, first, egg drop. Students of Miss Nair's technology class are participating in an egg drop competition. Okay, so we have egg drop. We are going to drop the egg. Each team of students must build a protective device that will keep an egg from cracking after 30 food drop. So they are going to drop the egg from 30 food drop, and they don't need this egg to break or crack. Now, the instantaneous velocity, don't forget this word, the instantaneous velocity is very important, of an egg can be defined by this equation. Do you remember what's the meaning of instantaneous velocity? If you go back to the lesson 12.4, the derivative, right? I told you the derivative, it asks you what is the slope at any point. Do you remember? Slope at any point. If the question said the slope at any point, or the question asks you rate of change, right? Or the question asks you the average velocity. Do you remember the average velocity? Okay. Or the instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity. Or let's call it also the tangent line. Okay. So all of these sentences, all of these words has same meaning, which is equal derivative. Okay, so or we call it the f small. Do you remember from the previous from the first lesson I told you f small means derivative? Okay, now all of this gives me the derivative. So for example, if the question asks me, or let's similar to this one, the instantaneous velocity is this equation. So this equation here is the f of x. Okay, so let's call it f prime x equal negative 32t. So this equation here is after we applied the derivative. This is the derivative equation. Now, what should I do to find the antiderivative for this? So the antiderivative for this will be the original equation. I told you the antiderivative is the original equation. Okay, for example, let's say now, okay, before the example, let's continue the question, then I will explain to you. Now, where t is given in second and velocity is measured in feet per second, find the position of a function of a dropped egg. Now, let's go back to the example. Now, let's say this is the egg. Okay, this is the egg. And the egg at the beginning has an equation, but I don't know what is this equation. Okay? Now, after the egg drop down, okay, now the equation for the drop is this one here. Okay, did you get it? Now, after we drop the egg while it's moving, the velocity, which is the instantaneous or the average velocity, can be represented by this equation. So, do you understand now why this equation is after the derivative or the derivative? Because after we just push the egg and the big now is false, so now this is the derivative, the instantaneous velocity for the egg. Now if you go back, okay, if we go back to the original, now what is the original function? The original function will be the antiderivative. Okay, the antiderivative or the integration. So how can I find the original function? I will take the derivative equation, I find the antiderivative, so I can find what is the equation from the beginning of the egg. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Okay, so I have now the equation or the derivative equation, which is v of t, okay, equal negative 32t. Now if I need to find the antiderivative, so the integration for negative 32t to dt. Now let's find it. So negative 32t 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1, which plus c, don't forget plus c is equal, okay, negative 32t to the power of 2 over 2 plus c, we still can simplify, which is equal negative 16t squared plus c. So now this equation here is before we dropped the egg, okay, which is equal negative 16t squared. Okay, now after we know, oh sorry, don't forget plus c, okay, plus c, let's add plus c. Now my goal is to find plus c because c represents the height, okay, so all of this is c. How can I find c? To find c, I need to know what is t, because if I know what is t, I can substitute t, then I can find c. And because t at the beginning is, let me answer this question. If you answer this question, you understand. What is the time of egg at the beginning? What's the time? Did she move? Did the egg move? Or did the egg just made any action? No. So the time when the egg did not do anything, the time is equal what? The time is equal 0 because it's at the beginning. So now I have to substitute t with 0 and I get the answer. Okay? So let's say now, let's f of x, let's call it f of t, f of t is equal negative 16 t squared plus c. Now f of t is given, which is 30 feet, equal negative 16 0 plus c. Now let's find c. So the first, this term is equal 0, so this one cancel each other, so 30 is equal c. So as you can see, c is equal 30. So now f of t is equal negative 16 t squared plus c. We finish. We found the formula. Sorry, not plus c, plus 30. Why plus c? I found the c and then I write c. Oh my god. Okay, plus 30. Now let's find the other one. Find how long it will take for egg to hit the ground. Now to find the hit, I will take this equation and I need to find t. The question is how long I need to find t. So to find t, the height should equal, because hit the ground. Hit the ground mean f of t is equal what? F of t is equal 0. So what should I do? So 0 equal negative 16 t squared plus 30. Now let's solve this. So we minus 30 from both sides, minus 30 minus 30. So we cancel minus 30 equal negative 16 t squared. We divide by negative 16. Divide by negative 16, we cancel the negative 16. So then t squared is equal negative 30, which is equal negative, sorry, that will be positive because negative with negative will be positive. So 15 over 8. Now we use what? We use square root for both sides, square root for both sides, so we cancel the square. So t is equal 1.3, sorry, 1. I think 2, 369. So this is the final answer. Okay, I hope you understand the idea, and I hope you understand the idea of the egg drop. Now let's it's your time to solve this equation. It's similar equation but with different height or different feet, okay, above the floor. Now try to solve them. This is the answer. I hope you understand everything. Have a good day. See you. Bye bye.